Right, good afternoon, people of YouTubes. I thought I'd just come in and give you a general update on all the race cars that I own. So I think I've done a little bit of work on each and every one of them off camera. As I said in the last video, I haven't been feeling too well, so the uploads have been quite short. So yeah, I think we'll just get straight into it, and I think we'll start off with this one that's on the ramp, and this is the current one that I'm racing at the moment. We did Brands Hatch a few weeks ago. Went really well. Literally had a week since picking up the car to getting it ready for the track. Didn't need a lot, but it still needed a few bits and pieces. Again, I've had previous videos on that, so I'll do a little playlist and you can go back on that and watch the video of getting this all up and ready for the first race. So now we're preparing it for the second race, which is at Cadwell Park. The problem that I've got at the moment is time. Again, because I haven't been feeling too well, I've had some time off work, so I've had to come in and do customers' cars and catch up on them. And I'm away on holiday next week, so literally had 4 weeks to prepare. A week I'm away and a week that we didn't do anything. So I've done some bits on this week, and I'm hoping to carry on with that next week. I'm just waiting on some bits and pieces. So I'll cut in and we'll make a start on the bits that I found wrong between the two races, and yeah, and let you know what I've been doing to it. Right, so we're in the engine bay. There wasn't really too much to do in here, to be honest with you. Throughout qualifying, I had an issue with jumpy throttle. I can't remember if I covered this on my videos or not, so I'll just go through it again. Turns out to be that as soon as you touch the throttle, I was just going straight to 100% on the throttle position sensor. So as you can see, that's been repaired previously. I have got plugs to go onto here, but I think this is, I wouldn't say it's a better repair, but yeah, I just think that's a good temporary repair, so I'm not cutting into the loom and repairing it that way, because the plugs go quite wrong on these quite a lot of time. The wires split and stuff like that. So I think that's an acceptable repair, and they're quite firm, they're not coming out. So that was all okay. So I replaced the throttle position sensor with a second-hand one that I took with me. And yeah, that cured the issue basically. Right, throughout the racing, I felt a little bit of a flat spot between 4 and 5,000 RPM. And again, checking on the code, it keep coming up as an O2 sensor fault. I can't remember what code it was now. I can't remember if I've taken a picture either. But if I've taken any pictures, I'll stick them up along the way as I'm speaking to make it a little bit more entertaining. But yeah, basically I found that the exhaust manifold was cracked, and I have got the old manifold here. So you can just see that crack in that runner there, and again on the other side, you can see it just there. So that ain't going to be doing anyone any favours, and my theory was that it's going to be sucking in air before the O2 sensor, and again putting them readings off. So I replaced it with a good second-hand manifold, all new gaskets, some nice new lock bolts or lock nuts, and genuine ones. And also I replaced the lambda sensor or O2 sensor with a nice Bosch OE replacement. So hopefully that should be a lot better. And I haven't tested it, and I ain't going to test it, because basically I've got a few days left and then I've got to go on holiday. I ain't got to go on holiday. What am I talking about? I ain't got to go on holiday, but I'd like to go on holiday. And then when I get back, I've got 1 day before I've got to load this up to go to Cadwell. So as I say, time is pressing on. And again, I am waiting on parts for other parts of the vehicle anyway. So what was the next thing that we did? So we come around in the cockpit area. I'll open the door actually. The steering wheel, again on race 1, I was sitting in the assembly area at race 1, and I was just messing around, you know, just titting about, moving the steering wheel, and noticed that when you tug on it, that was really loose. And what I did was, after race 1, I just made sure that I was just constantly pressing on. I don't think it was going to ever fall off because it's got a lock nut behind it, but I was constantly pressing it on. And when I got back, I just whipped this little cover off here and just checked the nut. The nut was actually tight, and what it was the indicator cancellation switch, or the little spacer that goes behind the steering wheel, or in this case the boss. I didn't put on, basically. Not that I didn't put on, but it wasn't there to begin with. So I whipped all that off. I nicked the one off the F, which I should have done to begin with anyway. But there wasn't an issue when I first put this steering wheel on. That was nice and tight. So yeah, again, I've stuck that spacer on, I've tightened it all up. So hopefully that will be job done and we won't have any more issues with that. The next thing was that the gear stick was just really floppy and horrible, basically. I mean, that isn't now because I've done the work, and I'll show you that underneath when we put it up, but that was just really horrible and floppy and not very nice. It wasn't very positive. So yeah, we've done loads of bits on that. So what we'll do is, I think now we can stick it up in the air and I can show you the bits underneath. Right, underneath the vehicle, just show you what we've done here. So basically we've reconditioned all the gear linkage up to the gearbox and up to the gear lever itself. So all these bushers are new. We've got the black series Powerflex bush at the back there, and we'll just tarted up that bracket with some nice new bolts. Again, nice new bolts on this arm here, and I did grind them all back and give them a paint of Hammerite spray paint, but you can see where I've tried to fit it past the exhaust that just scraped all the paint off, but we're not really too bothered about that. Another Black Series Powerflex bush there, and then we've got a nice dark ice design UJ joint that comes with all, I believe they're nylon bushers in these now, so O-ringed nylon bushers, and with some nice new bolts and a nice stainless UJ there. So that just makes it a hell of a lot better than what it was. So yeah, underneath here, again, not a lot has changed really. We've put a new front cross member on here because the old one was rotted. Again, I'll stick a picture of that, of what it looked like, and that was rotted right in where these bushers mount. So again, that's not going to be doing us any favours. Again, we've taken off these brake reaction bars, cleaned it all up, painted them, and yeah, stuck in some black Powerflex or Black Series Powerflex bushers inside there as well. So yeah, again, a nice brand new subframe or front member. The rear part is again looking a bit crusty, but it's not holed or rotted in any way, shape or form, where this one was. And you can still get these new, which I was quite surprised about. So yeah, I just ordered one of them and stuck one of them on. Not the cheapest things in the world, but yeah, without trying to find a second-hand one and sending it off to be powder coated and all that sort of stuff, because that's what I like to do really. I like to, if I've got something off, I like to powder coat it, although I could just slapped it on, but the chances are that the one that came off was in bad condition, that whatever one that I get would be in similarly bad condition, if not on the outside but on the inside. So that is that. I'll show you that new lambda sensor or O2 sensor on there. So that is it from underneath for the gear linkage and front cross member. Right, and I thought the next thing to do would be to just check the pads and make sure they're all okay, because when I was applying the brake I was getting some kind of brake knock, so every time I put my foot on the brake something was knocking. So I thought that'd be something like to do with the pads or bushers, hence the reason why we've gone through all this, to be honest with you. And the first thing that I've noticed is that there was no pad retainers in any of the caliper carriers. Again, the discs are like new. The pads here are about half worn, but I did buy all new pads, so we'll stick the new ones in and we'll just keep these as spares just in case that we cook a pad or the pad material comes off at any point. And then we get to the back and you can see the state of that pad there. Look, just drop it on the floor, but yeah, you can see the state of that. Bits of pad there and round there, and it's pretty much the same on the other side as well. Again, no pads retainers at all. Just have a look at these other ones. The ones on the other side aren't too bad, but again they're still starting to crumble away a bit. So yeah, I've got some nice new Mintex racing pads to go in there, front and back. I'm just waiting on all the pad retaining clips, so I didn't order them because why would you? You'd automatically think that they're in there. And me being me, I just didn't really give it a thought. So yeah, that's the only thing really that we're waiting on to be ready. So once I've got them, it should be a case of just slapping the pads in. And we'll probably do an alignment on it as well, just to see where it is. And obviously we've been messing around with this front cross member, so it shouldn't affect the alignment, but we will just check it just to be on the safe side. The other thing that I want to do, but again I won't have time to in time for Cadwell anyway, was that I wanted to replace these rear beam bushers, because they haven't been replaced yet, and they, again, I thought that'd be a cause of the knocking that I was getting, but as you can see, all these bolts are absolutely toast. The bottom shock bolts I can't even get. This one I can get out, but the other one, that's seized in the inner bush, so it just, when you're drawing it out, that's actually bending the subframe, trying to pull the subframe out basically, because the sleeve is seized onto the bolt. But yeah, so at the minute I'm just collecting all the bits and pieces needed to refurbish this rear end. So I think the only things that I'm waiting for now are these bits here, and you can't get these anymore, I don't think, but I have found someone that has got one of each side, and they've emailed me saying that they've got one, sent me the photo of it, but they're just looking for the other one. So hopefully they've got that other one, and hopefully we can replace these two bits that bolts onto the chassis leg as well, because if not I'm going to have to try and find some new ones of them. or at least one second-hand one, and have all that cleaned up and painted. But I've got a brand new rear axle. Again, I'm surprised that they still do these because I didn't think they would. What else have we got here? We've got the bushers that go into the beam, and we've got all new nuts and bolts. We've got two brand new wheel bearings. What else we've got? We've got these hubs here. I did try and see if you can still get these new, and they did say they're on back order but with no time, so I'm going to say that you can't get these anymore. So I've managed to get a set of second-hand ones. Again, we'll replace all these bearings anyway, and we'll just clean them up in the shop blaster, get rid of these old bag and plates and give them a bit of a paint and make sure they're all nice and shiny to go with a nice shiny new arm or beam or rear axle, whatever you want to call it. And also I've got a pair of new rear shocks to go on as well. Now I'm not really too sure. There's 3 different types of shocks basically that what I've encountered or done my research on. You can get a standard 225 streetwise shock. You can get the 200 BRM shock, and you can get the ZR shock. Now you can't get ZR shocks new anymore. I think you can get the 25 shocks new still, genuine. And you can't get the BRM ones new anymore, but I have found a guy with the BRM shocks. Now I'm not really 100% sure on the dampening rate of the BRM shocks, whether they're the same as the ZRs or not. I'm not 100% sure, so it'd be interesting to get them and just compare like the size of them. Again, we can get this shock out no issue whatsoever, so maybe we can compare the BRM shock with that shock just to make sure that the length of the shock is still the same. But I believe that the ZR shock may be a little bit more stiffer than the BRM shock, but the BRM shock that says BRM/sports, so I don't know, but it's got to be better than a 20-year-old shock in there, isn't it? You know, these shocks got to be shot by now. They are still the original ones by the looks of it, with all the stickers that are still on the shock. So yeah, we'll some new shocks are going to be better than no new shocks really, innit? So and then obviously we'll take our lowering springs off as well. So I'm just waiting for all the bits to come for that, and then I'm going to do a nice little video on refreshing the rear subframe on that, because I am going to have a little bit of time between Cadwell and the next race, because I'll only be doing Brands, Cadwell and Snetterton this year in this car. So in Snetterton isn't until September anyway. If I've got time to do anything else, then I will, but at the minute my diary is not allowing me to do anything else. So especially with the bits that I want to do with the Metro. So I think that is it for this car. Again, not really a lot that needs to be done. Pads, front subframe, the exhaust manifold, the steering wheel, and the gear linkage and tracking. That is it. That's all that needed to be done on this one. So again, I'm just waiting for the pad bits to turn up, then we can slap them back in, do an alignment, and that will be good to go. Right, so I've rambled on enough about this car now. So I guess it's time to move on to the next one. Right, so the next car we're going to talk about is the Metro. Now I did buy this ready to race. All it needed was extinguisher and harness. But me being me, I always take things apart and then you take the next thing apart and then the next thing apart, and it's just a big spiraling downfall basically. So yeah, we've taken this all apart. We're going to be doing a complete rewire on it because the wiring was a mess, and also while we had everything apart, we've done some finishing touches. So we had all the inside painted, all the floor painted and stuff, and we've had all the roll cage powder coated, and that's all nicely bolted in with some new bolts and stuff. I've got the front part of the roll cage in, that's all been done as well. That's just in the workshop. But what we have done again is we have fitted a second-hand dash that I had kicking around, because the other one was just full of holes and full of nastiness. So we've done that. I've just got it laying in there at the minute on these two side bolts, and I didn't want to fit that in fully just yet because we have got a load of wiring to do behind the dash, and then once the wiring behind the dash is done, we can then fit this in and cut this out for the roll cage for the front feet, and then we fit the rest of the roll cage in. What else have we done in here? Not a lot really. Painted that roll cage. I've done the steering wheel. I've done a video on that. Didn't really get many views, but if you want to have a look at that, then be my guest. New fire extinguisher, and we've got all our new electronic stuff in here. So we're going full PDM, which is going to control all our lights and all our electric stuff. And then we're going a ECU master and Black Series engine management. So hopefully that will all tie in together nicely. I'm going to go for CAN keypad as you do with these, and I've got a power tune digital dash to go on there as well, so that will all tie in together nicely. I've done the aluminium door cards, so we get rid of them flimsy old floppy standard ones, which I didn't really like, although they were probably lighter than what these weigh, because these are 2mm alley with all the stainless bolts in it, so that's probably way more than the flimsy standard ones that I had in there. So yeah, that's it for in here. Again, I've started doing all the wiring. I stripped out all the wiring. I've got all my sub looms here, so I think that's the two front looms and the rear loom, and then all that in there is what I took out. So this is all I need for all my lights, wipers, fan, fuel pump, all that is in this loom here, and then this is all the stuff that's spare, but we like to keep spare stuff because it comes in handy because it's good wiring. So yeah, that'd be a case of start getting that all in and start getting the PDM all plumbed in and firing all that up. The other thing I did, I got a second-hand rear bumper and I've painted that. Again, I'll probably just stick some pictures up on it, just show you the process of it. It's not perfect, but it's reasonably good. I didn't do no body work on it either, I just literally rubbed it down, primed it and painted it. But yeah, it didn't come out too bad. Not that you can see it. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Piper exhaust I've got, but none of them fit, so I'm going to have to mix match the mid pipe and the cat section, purely because they didn't make one for the earlier GTIs with the 4-branch manifold. So yeah, I'm going to have to use the longer mid pipe and then cut the cat pipe down to make that all fit. So, and then I'll probably V-band it at the same time as well, just to make it a little bit easier. Coming on to here again, second hand front bumper with all the GTI bib and stuff. No, the GTI bib is what I had originally on the old bumper, but the old bumper had loads of holes in the number plate section, and you're not allowed them in one of the series. Can't remember if it's Classic Stock Hatch or the Metro Club. So I've got second hand bumper, the same person I got the front bumper from, or the rear bumper, sorry. Again, that was in red, so I managed to get that all sanded down, primed, painted and lacquered, and that's looking really good. And again, of the same guy, if I take you back in here, I've got the GTI side skirts as well, again in red, but they are all there and in really good condition as well. I think the only thing that I'm missing is where it bolts onto the wing should be a stud, and they've all been ripped off, so I might have to glue in some studs for that. But yeah, they're all there. They've got all the clips in the back, or the majority of the clips at the back, to slide them onto the pins. The pins in the side of the sill, so like you push them in and then you slide them, they click into place. So yeah, I've got to paint these, and I'm going to paint both front wings and the bonnet as well, because they were blue and I think they just rattle canned it just to make it look relatively half decent from 6 miles away by the looks of it. So yeah, we've got all that to do yet, so a little bit more painting, a little bit more wiring, and then the only thing is to do is to get it onto dyno and set up the engine management and get all that sorted in place. So in here, I've done again a little bit of work. I've noticed that the GTI front radiator had a hole in it and that was leaking. You can't buy them anymore again, so it'd be a case of getting it recored, or what a lot of people do, they fit the MGF radiators in it. So I've gone for a MGF alloy rad and then just adapted it to fit. Again, I've bought a brand spanking new Metro fan, but that won't fit in the place because it fouls on this coolant hose, so I couldn't do that. So again, we fitted a nice spool fan there, just to, yeah, should be the same sort of thing. I don't think there's any performance gains to be had from that in the sense of cooling. So yeah, nice spool fan on there. I think it's a 10-inch one actually. What else we've done? New coolant hose at the back there. Swapped the throttle body over to a 48mm one and not the Tomcat one that was on it. All new hose clips and stuff like that. I did put you have to adapt these to obviously fit. So this is a Rover 25 K series pipe here, with a nice little silicone there because the one that comes out here was too small for that radiator. But one thing I'm not really liking is this almost like a little bit of a kink on there, so I think what I might do actually is replace this coolant outlet housing with an MGF one where it comes out straight, so I might make it a little bit better of where it comes out at, and then obviously this will just come around, and yeah, it's a little bit different here as well. But I've got all the new sensors changed on here, and obviously to run the new PDM anyway, so we can do that. What other things have I done? The battery. So we've got a new lightweight Jack Webb Motorsport battery on here. I've blanked, obviously we're taking out all the heater box, so we've blanked all this out. Nice positive pass through. All with the battery isolator, all terminated nicely with the safety cut off. Again, this was a distributor car as well, and I could have kept with that, but I want it to be a little bit more reliable. So what we've done is we've gone for a Ford coil pack, and I've made a bracket, and I'll just mount there somewhere, and we'll just make some HT leads to go onto that. That's about it really for this one. Yeah, not a lot has been done, but again, it's just having times and being off ill and stuff that's really taken things a lot longer than I anticipated. But I'll just show you inside the boot. But yeah, I think the next thing I need to do on this is obviously start getting the wiring in, getting the seat remounted so that I can place the CAN keypad and the emergency cut-off button for the electric side of things, for the inside bit, because that's the wake up button as well for all the PDM as well. So as soon as you hit that on, get all the power in, that then wakes up the PDM, I'm hoping. But I'm all new to this motorsport wiring stuff, so I've done a little bit of research, but I've still got a hell of a lot more research to do, of where to pin things, where not to pin things. You've got to have CAN resistors, and you've got to have resistors on the bloody sensors as well and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just bloody mind-boggling. I don't know why they just can't, you can't just buy the sensor for that control module and just plug it in and that just work. But no, you've got to put some kind of resistor in there to make it work properly or something. I don't really know. But we'll figure out along the way, I guess. But anyway, that's it for the little Metro. We'll continue on that later, but it probably won't be until after we get this one done and we've completed our race complete our race at Cadwell. So the main goal is at the minute is to get this done, go on holiday, come back, race at Cadwell, and then we'll continue with the rest of the cars. Right, let's get outside around the back and let me walk you through the MGF. Right, the MGF, just sitting here in my scrap pile at the minute. It's not in my good books because it's given me nothing but issues. I'd done a little small video of when we took this out on a track day just to try and test it out to make sure that was all okay, but it turns out it wasn't. We were still getting the misfire towards the end of the sessions, and also the engine that I put in it didn't sound the healthiest either. So what we've done is we've actually parked this for this season. Obviously got the ZR to do the racing in this season, and then that just gives me some nice chill downtime to work on this without being stressed on time constraints and actually getting down to the bottom of why it's misfiring and perhaps removing the engine, stripping that down to make sure that's all fine and getting that all back together again. But apart from that, it was okay, apart from being a bit wet. So yeah, just getting onto it really. The other thing that we need to do as well obviously is just repair the damage down the side, and obviously stick our steering wheel back in. But I have got all the bits for that. I've got a new front sill section, got a new rear quarter panel, so we can do all that. But the main issue that I've got is the got a nice little MGS seat in there for passenger. The main thing that we had the issue with is the misfiring issue. That's the worst thing at the minute because I don't know what it is. I replaced absolutely everything on this. So I've replaced the fuel pump, fuel filter, the ECU, all new spark plugs, all new coil packs, bottom half the inlet manifold off a good known one with all injectors, which I know is good. Top half of the inlet manifold again replaced with all brand new sensors. What else we've done to it? Yeah, loads of other little bits and pieces as well. So everything that would cause a misfire I've changed, with either brand spanking new ones or known good ones, just so that I know that it's all good. Oh yeah, the other thing that I replaced was the wiring harness. So I put a brand spanking new, really hard to find, not available anymore, TF160 VVC wiring harness in. So yeah, everything's been done. So that's why I'm so confused about the misfire issue. But I might be able to start up actually. Oh no, I haven't got the key for it. But yeah, you can probably sense my frustration with this one, being the amount of time and money I spent on it, and for it still to play up and play silly buggers with me really. So yeah, we'll get onto this. We'll sort it out another time when we've got a little bit more time on our hands, and then hopefully we can do a couple of track days on it just to shake it down, make sure it's all okay before next season, and then hopefully we can race it next season. So let's get on and let's do an update on the last and final race car in my collection. Right, so the final race car that I've got is the Mark IV Escort XR3i, and it's more of a shelf than a race car at the minute. There's stuff piled around it, the dead engine out the F that I blew up last season, Metro bits, ZR wheels. I've got a load of bits underneath here as well for the Streetwise. So I've got some servicing bits on here, some new front wheel arches and some new front wings. So that'll be another video that we need to sort out as well. And again, loads of servicing bits underneath there as well. So we need to sort of like make a start on getting that done as well, so I haven't got so many bits kicking around. In here I've got a load of Metro bits. That's that brand new fan, look, that I bought. Brand spanking new Metro fan, and I can't even use it. And I had to go and buy another one which cost me 3 times as much as what that one did, but there you go. Let's have a look around this side again. Metro cage, Metro wheels, Metro tyres, spare wheels for the ZR, another set of spare wheels for the ZR, which I need to get some wet tyres for actually, that reminds me. And again, loads of spares for the Metro that came with it that I've yet to sort. So yeah, again, work has been slowly progressing on this. I think the last video I've done on this would be doing this in a wing, and that is as much as I got recorded. If I get this bit of cardboard out of the way, you can see I've started to put in a new chassis leg, but it's not really going to plan at the minute because it's so bent. I could have done with that whole inner wing as what you'd buy it from the factory, and annoyingly I could get one for this side but I couldn't get one for this side, which again are very annoying. But I've started putting this chassis leg in, and as you can see, if I prop all this up to roughly where it needs to be, you can probably see that the inner wing is about 2 inches away from where it should be. So I've actually brought a port power to hopefully rest up against this chassis leg and actually push. You see how creased this is. Push this whole inner wing that way, and then hopefully that will line up better, and then we can weld in the chassis leg and stuff like that. but I need to take some measurements from that point there to this point here, just so I know that I've got it bob on basically. Well, the chassis bit bob on anyway. The rest of it doesn't really make no difference. It's not ever going to be a show car as long as it's all in there, it's all structurally sound and tight. Who cares if it's a couple of mil out, because I really don't. You can see like the door gap at the bottom there is a lot bigger than the one at the top here. So we've got a lot of playing around to do in getting this all aligned and stuff. But again, this is a long-term project. I've had it 2 years now, I think I've had this car, and I've literally torn it apart. Again, there's another one that I bought that just needed a fire extinguisher and a set of belts, and that was ready to race, apparently. But how messed up that front corner was, I couldn't do it. I had to pull it apart. And it's the same with the Metro. The amount of rust that I've seen in the Metro, that I've just said, no, I'm not going to do it, because I'll end up in the same position as what this one is. So the rust I've just left, I just treated it and just painted over it for now. Let's concentrate on getting it ready, getting it to a couple of races this year, and then going from there. And if I want to, either reshell it, because everything that I'm doing to put onto it, I can easily take off and put into another shell. That's the plan anyway. So I can either reshell it with a good shell, or we can repair this one. Because to be honest with you, there isn't really that much rust in it. It's like a couple of bits in the floors and the inner wing, and there's a little bit of grot in this rear arch here, but that's not too bad, to be honest with you. So yeah, how far do you go with these cars? I've got too many of them that I can't finish at the minute. And also I've got the Metro at home, which I'm still doing the exhaust on. Again, I've got to the mid section of the exhaust. I filmed that. Again, didn't really do many views. So I'm just, as and when I've got a spare half an hour at home, I'm just finishing it off, getting the rear bit done, or the side bit, because it's coming out the side. And then hopefully once that is done, I can then do a video on getting the coilovers on it, because I have got a set of Ava coilovers that I had for over a year now, which I bought when I bought the car. So yeah, hopefully I can do a little video on that and go from there really. But yeah, that is the update on all four of the race cars: the ZR, the Metro, the F, and the Escort. So yeah, if this has been boring, or it's not really an active video today, again, I'm not really feeling very well, so it's a case of just doing what I can. I thought this is a nice little video, although being a bit monotone and talkative, it gives you an overall update on my race car situation. So yeah, again, I've already mentioned this before. The immediate plan is to finish this off, go on holiday, get this down to Cadwell. So in a couple of weeks time you'll see some videos at Cadwell of this one, and then what else have I got? We'll probably do some Streetwise stuff at some point, do a service on the Streetwise after that. I'm not really filming too much on the Metro at the minute. Again, we've done lots of little bits and pieces on it, but it's literally having to find 10, 15, half an hour of my time just to get in there and just do a little bit at a time, and I just don't think to pick up the camera. So once we get the main rubbish jobs out of the way, then I'll pick up the camera and we'll start filming the last step on getting this ready for the track, like programming the PDM or taking it to the dyno and getting that all sorted, or yeah, the last bits that people are interested in, not the bore and stuff in the middle. So yeah, that is it. I'm going to leave it here for this video. Again, apologies if I've dragged on a bit, but some people are interested in what are happening with the cars, so I thought I'd just update, and hopefully we'll see you again in the next few days, where I'll try and get something together to upload. If not, that'll be after the holiday. I'll definitely get something up and ready on the tube reviews. If not, that will be racing at Cadwell in the ZR. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and we'll see you again in the next one.